Hello everyone, I've been wanting to do a knife video for a long time. I'm no expert, I just have a small collection that I like, and I'll tell you the reasons why I like them and the reasons why I dislike some of them. I got my first knife when I was about 6 years old. It was a Swiss Army knife. I got it for my birthday. Loved that. Got my first cut, pretty bad cut, and learned a good lesson there. The second knife I ever got was this Buck Folding 110 Hunter, and I saw this knife when I was 12 and was obsessed with it. Had to have it, saved up money and got it. Don't remember what I paid for it, but maybe it was like $10 or $15 back then. And I loved this knife, and I still love this knife. This is one of my favorite knives. It's the prototype to all folding knives. This was the first folding knife that locked, and it's very sturdy. It's made of brass. Now there's plenty of other people that are going to give better specs than I can on these knives, but you can search for those videos, but I'm just going to kind of give general overview here. So this is a knife that I carry almost every day if I can. It's a little bit big for EDC, but it's very durable, and it's a classic knife. So that's the Buck Folding 110. And so this knife I got, this is not one I got when I was 12. I got this one maybe about 7 years ago. I saw it and remembered that I had this one as a kid and got it immediately. Can't remember what I paid for it, but I think it's under $50 at Walmart. So not an expensive knife, but a classic American knife for anybody who collects knives. The next knife I saw, believe it or not, at a Walmart is another Buck. This is the second knife I bought. So like I said, about 7 years ago I started my knife collection, and this one immediately just grabbed my attention, and didn't know that much about it. Just taking a look at it, I knew that this was a good knife and got it, and since then I've done enough research on it to know that it was a good decision. So these you can pick up at Walmart for around $50. This is a classic American design, classic American knife. You know, there's people that say you could use this as a survival knife. I think you definitely could. It's the second thickest of all the knives I own, so I'll show you, my knives in terms of thickness. But this has been my camp knife ever since I got it. So this is not really much wood processing with it. I probably would shy away from that because I like the blade so much, but all kinds of food preparation, camp chores, this has been my camp knife. And it used to have, up until last year, a nylon sheath, and I finally went ahead and got the leather sheath, and that just bumps this up to probably one of my favorite knives. Like, if I had to grab one knife running out the door, this one would be very high on the list. So that's the Buck 119, another classic. Well, since I was enjoying the Buck products, I went ahead and picked up this Bucklight Skinner. Now this knife was around $35, and I wrapped some paracord around it and experimented. It's been used as a camp knife, mostly for preparing food. Could be used for bushcraft, I'm sure. And again, it's very, very thick. It's actually the same thickness as the Buck 119, but it's basically a skinning knife. This is for skinning deer. And it's a nice little affordable knife. I think we have about 3 or 4 of these. Alright, so now I'm getting a little foggy on the order that I got these, but there was another knife I did after I got these 3. I did some research, and the next knife I knew I was going to get was the BK2, another classic. Now this is the thickest knife. I believe this is 1/4 inch thick. This knife would be my favorite knife if it had a leather sheath, so eventually I'll get that, but that's going to cost just as much as the knife does. This knife is around $80, $79, I think I got it for at an Army surplus store. It's razor sharp. I've got the edge pretty much on all of these knives razor sharp with my stone here that I use. Nothing fancy, just stone I got at the hardware store, and then I get the edge with this little sharpener. But this thing, will slice paper. I'm not going to worry about doing that. But this is just a beefy knife. I don't know if I could actually even carry this, so that's why I haven't upgraded the sheath, because I don't know if I'd even want to carry this on my hip. It's just, it's a pound. This is 1 pound. So this is, you know, you can chop down a tree with this thing. But another classic survival knife. And then I was very intrigued by this. This is a Farsons blade, and it's based on a Neanderthal tool. And this is kind of like a Neanderthal multi-purpose tool. You can turn it into an axe. This thing is razor sharp as well. It came with a nylon sheath, and I went ahead and got the leather sheath originally, but my original leather sheath got all torn up, and I got another one. And so yeah, this another really good blade. I don't know how useful it is. People seem to like it, but more of a novelty thing. I just had never seen anything like it before. So, and you can, like I said, there's plenty of stuff on YouTube. This is a high carbon steel. You can get this in a stainless steel. I believe the Buck 119 is a stainless, the Buck 110 is a stainless, and the Buck Skinner is a high carbon. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And this is also a high carbon steel. So easier to sharpen, but you gotta be careful because these will rust. The high carbon steel will rust. It's easier to sharpen, but you gotta take care of it. The next knife, after I got into knives, you know, I just had to pick up a Mora, and I was gonna get a Mora Bushcraft Black, but I really liked the idea of having a bright orange knife. And Moras, everybody knows, you know, these knives. These are classic knives from, I believe, Sweden. And it's got a Scandi grind on it. This thing is razor sharp too. And this has been another knife I've used for my camp knife. You can see it's dirty and it's been used. This is kind of like my backpack knife. This one goes on in my backpack, or clipped onto my backpack when we're camping. And I just like the fact that you can see it. There's things I don't like about the Moras. There's the fact that it's a rat tail tang. I like full tang, and I see that Mora's now got a full tang knife coming out, and it's about $100, and that's next on my list. And I think Dave Canterbury is promoting that knife. That looks really sweet. The only downside about the Moras, like I said, is, you know, you can't use it as a hammer or anything. It's not much of a survival knife, but again, if I had to grab one knife, this one might be it, you know, maybe. So that's the Mora Bushcraft Orange. So the Bushcraft Orange is a little bit thicker than other Bushcrafts and a little bit longer, or than the other Moras. Alright, the next knife, again, there's some of these knives I've just had to have once I started learning about them. And this is another favorite of mine, another knife that if I only had one knife, this one might be it. Actually, all my knives seem to be like that. There's some downsides to the BK11. The sheath, I wish it had a better sheath. Right now, my sheath will not hold in the knife very well, and the knife will fall out, and it's actually fallen out and almost hit me in the foot, so I don't like that. So I have a little, like a triple slip knot on there that holds it really tight, and it's nice because it has a little groove there I can put the knife in. I also upgraded the scales and got micarta scales, which really turns this into, from a neck knife, more of a tactical, to a straight out bushcraft knife. So again, this thing is razor sharp. I've seen people baton with this, and it performs much bigger knives. And again, this is the third thickest knife I own, and it's a neck knife, so it's a very thick little monster of a knife. I love the Beckers, and it's basically a miniature version of the BK2. There's one more, I think a BK13, it's a little bit smaller, but I like the size of this one. And the downside is the sheath, but I do have a solution for that, so I'm okay with that, and I've wrapped a paracord around it. So that's the BK11, and that's another knife that I often will carry around my neck. And of course I had to get a Condor Bushlore. So this is from Condor Knife and Tool, somewhere in South America. Is it Argentina? I can't remember. This is $35. I put a patina on it with, I used mustard. So, and this is just a very affordable bushcraft knife. Again, if I had to grab one knife, maybe. I've seen people do a lot of work with these. For the price, if you want to get into bushcrafting, this is going to be a great entry level. I mean, all of these. And this one comes with a nice leather sheath, so for that price and a nice leather sheath, like I said, I favor leather sheaths over, you know, the Kydex or plastic. So this one's got a nice sheath, and it's just a nice solid. Like I'm not worried about beating the crap out of this thing. Whereas this one, I don't really want to beat the crap out of this. This one, yeah, not so much. I mean, it was $35. You can always replace it. So that's the Condor Bushlore. And then I made a stupid decision, and I have some regret. I ordered a no-name knife that said it was listed at $200, and it was, you know, this was on Amazon, and they knocked it down to $40. And I, you know, being gullible, I went ahead and got it, and it's buyer's regret. The sheath doesn't hold the knife in if it's upside down. The fit and finish is not very clean. This is supposedly a bone handle. I have been trying to get this sharp for a long time, and the blade on it I cannot get sharp. It's a stainless steel blade. So I do have some buyer's remorse on this one, so be careful. I mean, you get what you pay for. Now this is nice and thick, and again, this would be a perfectly fine functioning knife, and I'm not going to worry about beating the crap out of this thing. So that's probably what it'll be, is my beat up knife. And then, out of order here, I picked up this knife again. I have some buyer's remorse about this one. This is another buck. This is a buck Alaskan, and it's probably the sharpest knife I have. I was told it was full tang, and I should have done my research. They lied when I got it at the store. This is a rat tail tang, so I was pretty pissed about that, considering it was $120. But the steel is really good, and it's super sharp, so I wouldn't use this for anything but processing meat with or game with. That's what it's meant for. I wouldn't be doing any bushcrafting with that. So that's the buck Alaskan. And then the latest, again, I saw this listed for $150, and they knocked it down to $39, I believe, and I bought these two knives at the same time. Now this one, actually, it's not a no-name, it's a William Rogers. And I did some research on William Rogers, and it's a knife company in England, and they do make some good knives. The fit and finish on this is not perfect. You can see little gaps between the scales and the knife, but the blade is great. It's razor sharp, and this is kind of finally, I feel like, my first real bushcraft knife. This one was sort of entry level. So this knife's probably worth more than $39. I think they were trying to get rid of it, but honestly, for $39, this is a sweet deal. So that's, you know, it's got a leather sheath. The knife fits all the way in there. It's nice and snug in there. It's not coming out. It's a dangler, so I've been wearing this around my neck pretty comfortably. You could also wear it on your belt. So that's the, it's just I don't know if it has a name. It's the William Rogers I Cut My Way. I don't know if that's the knife, but just a nice quality bushcrafting knife that I'm excited about. So some things to think about if you're looking into getting a knife is, you notice most of these are fixed blades. I prefer fixed blade knives over the folding knives because there's always a weakness here, and I prefer the full tang knives, meaning that the knife tang goes all the way to the end of the knife rather than a rat tail tang. So most of these are full tang, and that's because that's what I prefer. But the Buck 110 is an exception. So just a little peek at my knife collection. I don't know if I'll be getting any more, but that's my start.